Hey everybody, Michelle here with Sew It Online, and this video is learning how to make cording or piping and how to insert cording or piping using the cording foot for the Triumph. So first thing you want to do is you want to have, I have the machine set up for a 4-thread overlock. And I know that I need to do that because the directions that come with this piping cording foot will tell you if you're going to piping and you want to put it in a seam, you're going to set up for a 4-thread overlock. And if it's going to be in the fabric center, you're going to set up for a 2-thread chain stitch. So the directions that Babylock give you on any of the presser feet are very detail oriented. The other thing, if you ever lose these, you can go to babylock.com to download them. I also suggest getting a binder with some of those clear plastic sleeves. Put these directions in there so you don't lose them, and you kind of have like a stitch Bible or a directions Bible for your Triumph. So I have it set up for a 4-thread overlock. I'm not real particular about my stitch length, but I have it on a 3 standard. I have my stitch width just on the letter M, and I am going to be cutting fabric. Now the first thing we want to do is take off this presser foot. This is your basic foot. In order to do that, I'm going to lift the presser foot, and back here is a little button. I'm just going to drop it or push it toward the machine, and I like to move the foot off of the machine off to the left, kind of to the back. It's a little bit easier to get on and off. So your basic foot is going to have BL written on it, just your basic Babylock presser foot for the Triumph. We are going to use what they call the P5 foot. The P5 is a piping, it's a 5mm foot. And you'll notice that there's 4 notches here in the front, okay? Those notches line up with your needles. Now you'll notice your Triumph can take 5 needles, but there's only 4 needle positions on this particular foot. So that C3 position, that notch should be right here. Make sure you do not put your C3 needle in when using this presser foot. The biggest thing about this foot is when we turn it over, that there is a channel right here. And this channel is where your cording is going to sit. Now everybody asks, well, what size cording? Well, basically whatever fits under the foot, okay? So what I have here is a cording. It's an all cotton cording. I'm going to put it under. You can kind of see it doesn't seep all the way into the channel, but it'll stitch out just fine. This particular size is the fraction is 5/32. That's the size of this particular cording. Now you don't have to worry about if the needles hit this because it is all cotton and it's not going to break your needles. So the first thing we want to do is put this foot on. The first thing to do is bring it from the back left, and you notice that your foot can go actually up a little bit higher. So I'm going to put my presser foot up a little bit higher, bring it over, and I'm going to line it up. And when I bring it down, it just happens to snap on by itself because I lined it up correctly. If it ever is kind of close, but never like right on the dot, hit that little lever in the back that you took the presser foot off, hit that again, and it'll snap it right back on, okay? So in order to make this cording and piping, we want to take our piping and make it larger than what we actually need. So if you need 2 feet of cording, you know, make 3 feet of cording. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the presser foot up, and I have the needles in the highest position. I'm going to take my cording and I'm going to put it underneath my presser foot and just kind of wiggle it back and forth. And I'm going to have about 1 inch or 2 hanging off the back of the machine behind the presser foot. That way I can grab onto it. And there's always some, you know, when you work with a serger, you want everything longer than what you have to, than what you need, because you're going to cut off the yucky part, right? So I have it's right underneath. I can feel it where it is in that guide. I'm going to drop the presser foot. And actually, I'm going to bring this in a little bit more. I don't need all that. I'm going to take my fabric. Now, to make the cording or the piping, you just need 1 piece of fabric. I'm just going to make a short piece here. Now, I do have my blade cutting, so remember that. I'm going to take my fabric, and I'm just going to kind of finger press it in half. Now, you don't need to go to an iron or anything like that. You just want a simple kind of crease down the center. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift up my cording, and it's anchored pretty good because my presser foot is down. I'm going to lay it directly on that finger press that I did. See that? Now I'm going to take this fabric and I'm going to fold it over the piping toward the right, toward the blade of the machine, okay? Now, my cording is longer than my piece of fabric, and we want to do that on purpose. So, the key to getting really good cording is to pinch it right before it goes under the presser foot. So I like to use either my tweezers, my little red-handled screwdriver, or a little stiletto, something like this, and just kind of pinch it right there before it goes under. Now, this is going to cut off my excess fabric. And I normally probably would only, if I'm going to make piping, maybe only like an inch, maybe inch and a quarter of this strip, so I'm not wasting it. But I wanted you to be able to see how that folds over the cording. So I have my presser foot down, and I'm going to basically guide this cording in that groove, and let's get it started. And you see how it's right there, my presser foot is down. I'm just going to hold this, and I'm going to run this all the way through, pinching right in that front area, right here, as it goes under. And it just stays in there so nicely. And you can stop and adjust. This is something you don't want to do like crazy fast. Just because a serger can go fast doesn't need, you don't need to do that. So just keep following it. Guide it through underneath that spot. The machine is, pulling that fabric and that cording under for me. And we're just going to let it go all the way through. Now, when you get to the end, okay, and this goes for putting in a zipper, making cording, you don't want to swing it to the right or your blade is going to cut it off, okay? We always swing anything over to the left. And then just keep serging. Okay, so I have a piece of cording here, bigger than what I need. But look how nice and tight that cording is. And it gave me the seam allowance that I want, to insert this cording. And that's what we're going to do next. Now, another thing that you can do with the cording foot is insert a zipper. So you're going to run kind of the same technique. The teeth are going to go under the groove of that presser foot, and you're going to put one side on at a time. Again, make sure that you swing to the left when you're done so you don't cut off your zipper pull or your zipper stop. And also, you're going to have a zipper longer than what you need. So if it calls for a 9-inch zipper, use a 14-inch zipper, okay? So in order for us to insert this piping, I'm going to take 2 pieces of fabric, okay? And you know what, I'm going to get another color here just so you can see. It's not as long, but I think you'll be able to see it a little bit better. So I have 2 pieces of orange fabric. And there we go. I'm going to take my cording or my piping that I've made, and I'm going to do exactly what I did before. Bring the needles up, put the presser foot up, and I'm going to put this cording in just like I did before, in the same spot. And right here is where the start of my blue fabric is. All right? I'm going to put the presser foot down, and it kind of anchors my piping for me, okay? I want the raw edge or the serged edge toward the blade. Now you can do this in 1 step or 2 steps. We're going to go for it and put it and do it in just 1 step. So I want to insert my fabric. The first piece of fabric is going to go right side up, and I'm just going to lay it just underneath my piping, just like that. I want it to hang off a little bit because I want the orange fabric to be cut. Now, you can certainly serge this on and then put the other side on, but we're going to do it in 1 full step. So once I have it like this, I'm going to take this second piece of fabric and put it right side down. Okay? Now, what I want to do is, I'm kind of serging blindly here, but I can feel my cording, and I'm going to feel it go underneath into that groove. And it really almost does it by itself. You're just guiding it a little bit. So let me find where my presser foot is. I'm going to start this, and I can feel my cording is right there. And if you need to adjust, go ahead and adjust. Now you can certainly line up all 3 of your fabrics together, all those raw edges, and do exactly the same thing. And I'm just getting it right underneath there. Now you'll notice I'm not even using wonder clips or pins just because it's a short piece. So if you've ever thought of what the heck is a wonder clip, this is a wonder clip. It's a little, almost looks like a little mini binder clip. Okay, these clips are amazing to use with your serger. They will basically, you're going to see them before they get to the blade. What you don't want to use are pins. If you run over your pin, your blade, you're going to be coming in for a replacement blade. And sometimes it'll affect the timing of your machine also. So keep the pins away from your serger and use these great little wonder clips. And they come in packages of like 12 or 35 or 50, so there's all kinds. So let's finish running this through. I'm going to swing to the left. So you can see our stitches right there are 4-thread overlock. And then when we open this up, look how pretty that is. And I'm using black thread. You can't see that, right? How cool is that? So in the edges of pillows, quilts, you can put piping along like the borders of a quilt, any home dec items. Super fast, super easy. And the nice part is, if you are using your own fabric, you can get whatever color, piping you want it to be. You can custom it because you're making it on your serger. So remember, some things just are easier to do on your sewing machine and some things are easier on the serger. Making piping, inserting piping or cording is definitely easier on the serger. So enjoy your Triumph and your cording foot.